A warm welcome to you all. 𝗕𝗿𝗄𝗁. My name is Paul Harrison. I'm the chair of the Britain-Tanzania Society. And many of you will know already, but the lady who's just speaking is Janet Chapman, who's the chair of the Tanzania Development Trust. So today is the annual general meeting of Britain-Tanzania Society and our charity, the Tanzanian Development Trust. I'm very pleased to see a good turnout and look forward to a very productive and hopefully interesting and perhaps a little enjoyable meeting. The format you have hopefully all seen. I'll hopefully have been able to look at the AGM that's been in circulation, AGM agenda that's been in circulation for a while. The form that we shall follow is that I shall give a short welcome as now and for a few more moments. Thereafter, we will hear an address from the Tanzanian High Commissioner to UK, who just recently arrived, and thereafter from the Development Director of the UK High Commission to Tanzania. Lord Walney has sent his apologies to the Prime Minister's trade envoy to Tanzania, unfortunately, but those of you who know him will know he's a regular contributor to supporting this society. Then we'll go into a summary and the way ahead, and a number of other formal elements of the AGM, including looking at both annual reports of the Britain-Tanzania Society and Tanzania Development Trust and various updates. But before that, I really want us to have an opportunity to hear from two key speakers today, who I will shortly introduce. And after they have both spoken, we will do a Q&A session before we get into the meat of the AGM. That gives you an opportunity as Britain-Tanzania Society members to hear and converse in some form with the incoming Tanzanian High Commissioner, as well as the Development Director from the UK High Commission. So once again, a very warm welcome. Let me just say a little bit about the Britain-Tanzania Society, for those that don't know it, and indeed to our new High Commissioner. We are essentially a friendship society. I think we have really a very good record in terms of our connection with bringing together a kind of connectivity and friendship between Britain and Tanzania generally, but different elements, different groupings within that, including the two diasporas between the two countries. And we really operate on a number of different elements and themes. We have Tanzanian Affairs, which is I think a magazine which has proven to punch well above its weight for many years, and gives a very good understanding, I think, for many people about Tanzanian issues, and I think is read very widely, academically as well as in political circles and as well as in business circles. We have the Tanzania Development Trust, our charity, which is very active, and Janet and team will tell you more about that in due course. But we also have a series of events that we do regularly, and webinars, and so on. And as I said, it's really about cohesion between our two nations. It's been around since the 1970s. And I think the idea really for us is just to continue to find good reasons to continue to grow the relationship, which is ever shifting and ever changing, between Britain and Tanzania, going forward, and make the very most of those links, whether they're education links, whether they're trade links, or whether they are through religious groups and civil society. So let me stop there, and I'd like to now, so you should be able to unmic yourself, High Commissioner designate. So I'd like to welcome 𝗕𝗿𝗄𝗁𝗃𝗍𝗁, who is the incoming Tanzanian High Commissioner to the UK, just recently arrived in London only a few days ago. A warm welcome to you, and now an opportunity for you to please, 𝗕𝗿𝗄𝗁, to speak. Over to you.
Thank you very much, Paul. Dear friends, I'm very happy to join you this afternoon virtually, and also at the beginning of my tour of duty here in the United Kingdom. As Paul said, I arrived 3 days ago, and I'm still finding my way. So it is a great pleasure that I've been given the opportunity to join you at your annual general meeting. Coincidence or universe conspiracy, I'm happy that this annual general meeting takes place at the beginning of my tour of duty, which I think is a good sign. It's a good beginning. This is my first activity since I arrived, and being first, it signifies my mission and purpose during my tour of duty here in the UK. I'm here to strengthen and tighten the relations between humans and the people of Tanzania and the UK. And it is my mission to build a strong foundation between people and through people and between businesses. It is also my wish to facilitate and leverage interactions between people, products, and services. My inclination towards people people-to-people relations is born out of the appreciation that our two countries enjoys excellent bilateral relations. And the bond between our two governments is deep-rooted, and interaction between our two officials is firmly grounded. And my predecessors have done a tremendous job to build that strong bond. Therefore, my task will be to maintain and scale it up. Our people, however, have become distant from one another. British Airways and Air Tanzania no longer fly to and from each other's airports. Getting visa to and from has been a challenge. Also, the demographic changes in our both sides have resulted into a new generation, distant from our old good days and quite strangers to one another these days. I've been talking to yesterday with a friend about the need to encourage the young generation to engage between our two countries. They need to meet more, they need to interact more, and we hope our platform, British Tanzania Society, could be used to achieve that. I'm a firm believer that the future of our relations lies with people and not governments. It is therefore my desire to endeavor the interaction and relations between our students, artists, scholars, scientists, civil societies, and business people, private sector among many. I desire to see our people talk to one another, visit one another, and feel one another. I believe through this kind of interaction, we will witness more tourists, more businesses, more trade, more collaborations, and eventually sustained stronger ties between our two countries. It is for this reason that I accepted the invitation to virtually join you and make this my first engagement even before I officially started my tour of duty. I'm expecting on Monday to present copies of my credentials at the Foreign Office. And until that time, I will be waiting before starting formal engagements in many other setups. I'm here today more as a prospective member of British Tanzania Society, a friend of United Kingdom, a product of UK education, beneficiary of UK generosity through the 𝗕𝗿𝗄 program, and once resident of Hull, city of Hull in the UK. It is my promise to work closely with the British Tanzania Society during my time here in London. And thank you for opening your arms to embrace me and inviting me to this annual general meeting. I wish you all successful deliberations, and I look forward to meet with you in the near future. I thank you. Asante sana.
High Commissioner Designate, and I'm sure High Commissioner by Monday, 𝗿𝗏𝗃𝗏, I'm most grateful for that, for those remarks. in a few minutes we will open for a few opportunities around Q&A. Before we do so, I would now like to invite to the floor Kemi Williams, Development Director for the UK High Commission to Tanzania. Welcome, Kemi.
Thank you, and hello everyone. Good afternoon. Habari za mchana. First of all, thank you very much for this invitation. I'm really grateful for the opportunity to speak to you. I'm sitting here in Dar es Salaam. It's very hot. But also congratulations, Honourable 𝗕𝗂𝗁𝗂, on your appointment. We're really looking forward to engaging with you. I'm sure my colleagues in London will be excited to meet you very soon. I'm assuming that everybody can hear me, and I assume you'll let me know if you can't. But what I thought I would do this afternoon was just to give you an overview of the UK's offer, if you like, to Tanzania. I'm the Development Director here, Deputy High Commissioner on the development side. And so my work here in Tanzania is to oversee the development programs that we run, but also to ensure that those development programs are delivered in sync and aligned with the full range of all the things that the UK has to offer to Tanzania. So my beginning point really is that we know that Tanzania has enjoyed enduring peace, 2 decades of economic growth, has abundant natural resources, has fantastic people, and is geopolitically situated in an area where it can and has provided a lot of regional strength and has potential to become a breadbasket, and has also delivered and has ambition to do so peace and security more broadly in the region. And so the High Commission here is the High Commission not just to Tanzania but also the Economic Community for East Africa. We also know that over the last couple of years that the political situation in Tanzania has opened up incredibly. There are opportunities on trade and business, on the development side, on gender, on climate, and a range of other areas. And obviously the international engagement has increased significantly. And the UK's offer is grounded in our integrated review, an integrated review of the UK security, defence, development and foreign policy was done in 2021, and there was a refresh this year in response to the more contested and volatile world we're looking at. And so our offer is grounded in the UK's vision for its overseas development assistance, its foreign policy, its defence and security, everything it does outside of the UK's borders. But it's also, our ambition is to do so in partnership and very much in alignment with the government of Tanzania's Vision 2030 and its own development plans. We are here in partnership and have been for many years and hope to continue to do so for many years. And that offer is a range of things. As I said, I will provide some detail about our development programs. But before I do so, I wanted to give you a sense of the range of things that we feel that we have to offer here alongside those development programs. And they are our best-in-class technical assistance. There are evidence and data that we have developed both in Tanzania but elsewhere where it might be relevant here. It's our world-class institutions, the universities and research institutions. It's the offer like 𝗕𝗂𝗁𝗂, which I understand Honourable 𝗕𝗂𝗁𝗂 has benefited from. So people-to-people connections through student and scholarships. And it's also our long-term development programs and our investments in Tanzania. We bring this, humbly and in partnership as an offer from the UK to Tanzania in a mutually beneficial partnership. It's not just a one-way street. And as I said, our work is very much aligned with the government of Tanzania's development plans and Vision 2030. So if I can talk a little bit about more of those other areas if you're interested, but I'd like to focus now more on some of our development programming. So we have a girls' education program. It's working in 9 regions, and it is benefiting and will benefit by the end of the program 4 million children. It's focusing very much on what happens in the classroom. So it's not building classrooms. We know that that is a priority of the government of Tanzania, but we work very closely with the World Bank to ensure that that is done and is done to good standards, and we support the World Bank's work. But our program is aligned with the World Bank's work, which is building the classrooms and ensuring that what happens in the classroom ensures that there are good learning outcomes, particularly for girls, but also for children who are disabled. And we're also working to ensure that the schools are safe and that there is a national M&E system that enables the government of Tanzania to be able to monitor and monitor progress against those learning outcomes. We also have a family planning program, which is national, both in mainland and in Zanzibar, which is helping to meet the unmet need for family planning. As many of you know, the population growth in Tanzania is actually much higher than the rest of the region. It's 4.8 on average, 4.8 children per woman. It has gone down. The census last year told us that there is a trajectory going down, but unfortunately it does mean that currently population growth is outstripping the ability of the health and education system to be able to meet the needs of the population. And so for us, the demographic challenge, it can be an opportunity. Demographics are an opportunity. Having healthy, young, educated people is a great thing. But at the moment, we need to be able to work with the government of Tanzania to make sure that the children and the young people who are graduating from secondary school and university are genuinely coming out with best-in-class education outcomes, whether they be technical and vocational, because we know that the education system is going through some reforms, or whether they be academic. Both of them are needed and both of them are wanted. So the family planning program, the girls' education program, we also have a long-term program which is looking at improving the quality of investments in Tanzania's infrastructure. So for instance, we've been co-financing with the World Bank, the redevelopment of the Dar es Salaam port, and also helping to do feasibility studies and providing technical assistance to build government capacity to implement public-private partnerships. And we're looking to the future. So we're also looking to ensure that Tanzania can meet its own nationally developed contributions on climate change. And so we have been ensuring that we want to provide technical assistance to help Tanzania to draw down climate finance. We're looking at clean stoves and clean cooking very much through a gender lens, but also to help people shift away from using charcoal and there's a lot of deforestation happening in Tanzania. Again, another natural resource that is very important, not just for Tanzania, but for the world. So how can we help people move away from using charcoal as the main source of cooking to other more clean and green cooking alternatives? We're also working on the trade and investment, really important to ensure that the 2 decades of economic growth continue, but also that the benefits of that growth do also trickle down to all the citizens across Tanzania. Poverty rates have been a little bit sticky and haven't reduced much, despite the fact that Tanzania has had this economic growth. So we really want to help Tanzania attract quality financial FDI, foreign direct investment, to help create jobs and to lift productivity levels. And so there's a number of strands of our overseas development assistance and also other areas of work that we have which are doing this. And Lord Walney would have spoken to this, but just very quickly, we've been holding an annual UK-Tanzania Business Forum that's been delivered with Tanzania's Trade and Investment Ministry and agencies, and has resulted in a joint Tanzania-UK action plan outlining mutually accountable commitments, technical assistance to support improvements to Tanzania's tax environment, support for activity to reduce inter-regional trade barriers, and work to enable the British Investment International, BII, and the UK Export Finance to engage with Tanzania's government on investment opportunities. And our support in this space has been instrumental in enabling the Tanzanian government to establish a single one-stop digital system for investors who want to register and obtain approvals for new businesses in Tanzania. I think the other thing that we've been doing in response to the opening up of opportunities and the ambition we have to continue to partner with Tanzania is how we work. So we're not just here to provide, whether it be overseas development assistance or programs. We also want to help shape the wider donor dialogue. So what others are doing here with government, and we do this a number of ways. But one of them is through co-chairing. So I'm co-chair of the donor partner group with the UN resident coordinator here. And with that donor partner group, we have a high-level strategic dialogue with the government of Tanzania twice a year, one at head of mission level and the other one at head of development cooperation level. And in that conversation, it's a frank and it's a very well-grounded, evidence-based discussion about how we, as the development community, can work in partnership with the Tanzanian government to deliver its own ambitions as it's set out in its own development plans. And we continue to engage with them on that. We also continue to ensure that the discussions, as the UK, we influence and provide the evidence and provide the technical assistance, and are very much in the forefront of influencing how the other donors are engaging with the government of Tanzania, because we feel that, and they feel actually, they do, I was elected, so I didn't put myself forward, we were elected, because other donors recognize that we have the knowledge of Tanzania, we have the staff who are based in Tanzania, and we have a wide range of engagements and investments in a whole range of areas, from trade to climate change to gender equality to education to family planning to health, etc., where we can bring, as I said at the very beginning, our world-class technical assistance, our people, our institutions, etc. So that's how we work, as well as what we do. I'm happy to answer any further questions, but I thought I might just stop there. Thank you very much.
Many thanks indeed, Kemi, for the detail on that, and for really explaining how the UK is currently focusing on its support to Tanzania, helping Tanzania deliver on its own ambitions and objectives, but doing so in a way that's as a convener, but also as a direct supporter to the country. I would like to open the floor to a few minutes of Q&A. We won't be able to answer everyone's questions, but I hope we can get at least a flavour of doing so. The best way to do that is just to pose a few questions in the chat. So if you can get busy just putting your questions into the chat, please, and we will pick out a few of those. I have had a couple of questions in advance, so while people are tapping away, I'll bring those up. So let me begin with a question that we had over email from one of our members, Tony Goodchild, based in Reading here in the UK. He says, I'd like to ask whether or when British people born to Tanzanian mothers now living in the UK will be able to become dual citizens of Tanzania and the UK. I mean, this is a question that does come up fairly regularly. It's a question around dual citizenship. Be interested to hear from both UK and Tanzanian government representatives here on that. But perhaps if I could start with Honourable Kairuki and just get your initial thoughts on that while we start to see some questions coming in from others. And I've also then after got a couple of questions from Aseri who can raise those to us as well. So. If you don't mind, let's look at the question of dual citizenship as much as we are able to first, please.
Well, thank you. Regarding the issue of dual citizenship, this has been an issue that has been in discussion among Tanzanian diaspora all over the world, and I'm happy to report that. Recently, our cabinet has passed a resolution that would allow Tanzanian diasporas to have a special status, which is falling short of dual citizenship, but it gives right to a diaspora to access certain privileges and benefits as Tanzanians. And we are expecting in the coming parliament, a bill will be tabled, which will provide for this special status to Tanzanian diaspora who are interested to take advantage of those privileges and benefits that will be provided. And the privileges extends to things like land ownership, things like migration, issues of entry and exit. I think there will be some kind of facilitation to allow our diaspora to access whatever they want in those areas. but I will be happy to find more details and share with the society so that the members can be fully informed about what does it entail, this special status arrangement that has been agreed by the government.
I'm afraid I can't add much to that, and obviously I can't speak for the government of Tanzania. I do know that the government of the UK, it does allow dual nationality. I myself am a dual national, although not with Tanzania. I was born in Nigeria, I'm a Nigerian Brit, and so I'm afraid I can't speak much more than that. Thank you.
Thanks both for those responses. And these are large issues which we have an ongoing discussion around. So it's useful to just at least raise them to some extent in this context. I have a couple of quick questions which from 𝗧𝗍, who's online, 𝗧𝗍𝘇𝗶𝗶, which I'll read out. How can Tanzania make it easier for gap year students from the UK to go to Tanzania to teach in various schools? That's the first question. I'll just get onto the second. And should Tanzania have an agreement with the UK government to bring qualified nurses to work in UK hospitals? Will this ease perhaps the level of employment in Tanzania? So there's two questions, one around gap year students and one around nurses. Again, to Honourable 𝗕𝗁𝗁𝗂𝗏, please.
The idea of availing opportunities for Tanzanian nurses to access job opportunities in the UK is a good idea, which I think it will not only provide opportunity for nurses to work in the UK, but also one, it will build our diaspora base outside Tanzania, but also it will give them expertise which is available here in the UK. Maybe in future they could go back home in Tanzania. So it's a good idea, and which I fully support. And one of the things that I will work on is to explore how best we can access such opportunity, but also how can we prepare our people to be able to fulfill the requirement to be able to come here, which includes communication, language, and also maybe some of the technical qualification exams and so on. We will find out, and we will definitely give feedback to Tanzanians, and so that those who are interested could start the process. With regarding to the gap year, I think it's a good idea, but it's something which I need to study more and see how best this can be done. But I think it's a good idea.
Thank you very much. I'm afraid I didn't quite get the question on nurses, but I think it was whether or not we can facilitate Tanzanian nurses, is that correct? Going to the UK, yes, to work there. So the UK government has entered into some arrangements with certain countries to do just that. We are, but we do have to balance the needs of the UK and the UK's NHS with the needs, obviously, the health needs of the country of origin. We actually have recently facilitated a memorandum of understanding between the Department of Health and Social Care in the UK and the government of Tanzania's Ministry of Health, which will provide access to health expertise for Tanzanians and learning opportunities for counterparts in Tanzania. So we haven't entered into an arrangement where we would expedite nurses going to the UK because the number of, there's something like a 60% vacancy rate in the health system here in Tanzania. And so this is not a country where we feel we would want to encourage more nurses leaving the system. But we have, however, entered into an agreement where we want, as I said, we have world-class institutions where and research where the UK can support the Ministry of Health to build its capacity and to draw down evidence and data and to do study visits and that sort of thing. I did see that there was a question on what the poverty rate in Tanzania is. There are lots of different ways of measuring poverty. Some of them are multidimensional, some of them are qualitative, some of them are quantitative. But the one that is used most by most people is the World Bank's measurement of $1.99, or the equivalent in Tanzanian shillings, a day. And in Tanzania, about 50% of the population live below $1.99 equivalent a day.
While you have the floor, Kemi, if you could also respond to, there's another two questions. Firstly, from, as you can see in the chat, firstly from our chair of TDT, Janet, where can we find out more details about the initiatives for girls and children with disabilities, please? If you could respond to that one. And then after that, there's a question from 𝗕𝗿𝗶𝗁, which you can also see. Thank you.
Certainly. So the program is called Shule Bora, Good Schools in Swahili. I'm sure most of you know that. And if you go online and you do www.gov.uk and then /Tanzania, you will see all the programs that your UK's taxpayers' money is contributing to, of which Shule Bora will be one. And if not, I'm happy to send it to you. Thank you.
And there's a question, thank you, Kemi. And there's a question from 𝗕𝗿𝗁. It says, there's significant progress in science and technology in the UK and Tanzania. This includes in sectors such as health, agriculture, etc. Could you please comment on ongoing activities that can be leveraged and the coordination that's in place to increase impact? That question is to you, please, Kemi, from Julie.
Is that to increase impact specifically in science and technology? Sorry, I can't see the question. Yeah. Somehow the chat function is not working for me. So science and technology. So there is a program called 𝗕𝗄𝗁, which we have been supporting through the United Nations Development Program, which is looking specifically at science and technology and promoting science innovations in science and technology, with an innovation week that started a few years ago and has now been taken up by the government of Tanzania and are now owned by them. And we continue to contribute to, and that's done things like help Tanzanian businesses produce seeds that are what do they call them? They're able to adapt to this particular context and are able to, and they're clean and you know, have higher yields, and doing things like helping small businesses to grow, particularly in terms of medical and innovations. So there's a range of things. If you look up 𝗕𝗄𝗁 with UNDP, we also co-fund with the World Bank and others an EdTech hub, an education technology hub, and that's looking at trying to identify different ways in which we can bring science and technology to bear on improving learning outcomes in schools. And it's done things like map where all the schools are and help the government of Tanzania and the Ministry of Education, MOEST, to see which schools are where, how many teachers are in which school, how many maths and science teachers are in those schools, whether or not there are too many in one and whether there's not enough in the other, and so that they can make informed decisions about the resourcing, because the resourcing is so limited, how best to use what they have. And it's done things also like look at the learning outcomes in different schools and to see where there are very good learning outcomes and where there are poorer outcomes, what's different about that school. It often comes down to having an excellent head teacher. They don't often have different resources. So those are the kinds of information, that's kind of how we use science and technology to try and understand how best we can use the resources that the Tanzanian government has, and then we can also bring ours to bear in a very targeted, specific way to help achieve particular outcomes. I hope that helps answer the question.
Thanks so much, Kemi. There's one more question I can see that I think I'd like to. There's also a bit of a conversation around health going on in the chat, but I think I'd like to just, given that we need to carry on with in terms of timing, just ask one more question. I think it's a question that both of you could perhaps look at, but I'll start with the High Commissioner 𝗓𝗄𝗁, please. So the question is, Tanzania is now exporting coal, which will bring valuable income support to Tanzania. How does this equate with helping the world's reduction in the use of fossil fuels? That's from David and Jackie. To the High Commissioner first, please, 𝗓𝗄𝗁.
Thank you, David. It's true, Tanzania is exporting coal, and as it is one of the ways to earn much needed foreign exchange to cater for our needs in the country. But also, it's true, we understand that there is a need to cut the use of fossil fuel. But this is something that I think cannot be attained overnight. It's a process which will take some time. And as we know now, even many countries that had committed to cut the use of coal have gone back to use the coal because of the shortage of sources of energy due to the situations that have been happening recently in many parts of the world. But I think the most important thing is to be able to build capacity that will allow developing countries like Tanzania to access technologies for green energy, solar, wind. This is the most important, and I think Her Excellency President Samia gave a very clear message in Sharm el-Sheikh last time that Tanzania is committed, but we need cooperation from our development partners to be able to meet this important obligation of cutting the use of fossil fuel. But honestly, to be realistic, this thing cannot happen overnight, and the use of coal is still beneficial if we are to be competitive in any way in our production. I will give example. I know of a factory in Tanzania which produces medicine. By using coal, cuts down the cost by 40% than using other source of energy. And if they don't do that, they will not be able to compete with medical products of similar kind which they are producing that are coming from China and India. So while we would wish to go green, it is a process, and this process needs a cooperation from our development partners, and I'm sure our cooperation with the UK, cooperation in this area is important, and I understand conversation is already in place, and we are looking forward to pursue further how best we could work together to promote green energy. Thank you.
Thank you, High Commissioner.
Thank you. Sorry, please go ahead.
Please comment, Kelly.
Yeah. So the UK's policy is not to fund, encourage, or invest in fossil fuels. So we don't use any of our overseas development assistance directly to invest in any fossil fuels. What we do instead is help protect the biodiversity and promote clean cooking, as I said earlier, renewable energy, and strengthen agricultural and urban resilience, so both in mitigation and adaptation to climate change. And our technical assistance has supported Tanzania to double its climate mitigation commitments at COP26, and also helped secure 260 million pounds of World Bank funding to build flood resilience. So in keeping with what 𝗕𝗿𝗶𝗁𝗏 just said, what we try and do is help Tanzania to achieve this transition, and it's a difficult transition. We recognise that. We want to help them achieve the transition to the use of cleaner, greener alternatives. Also, recognising the fact that Tanzania does have large forest cover. I think the third largest in the world, second after the Congo Basin, and that's a real asset. So how can we help Tanzania achieve carbon sequestering and make the forest that they have something that can help, is something that contributes to Tanzania's development and growth and economy, and by protecting it, obviously working with communities, etc. So the use of charcoal is very widespread in Tanzania, as I'm sure many of you know, and it is leading to quite a lot of deforestation. And so we really are wanting to work with the government of Tanzania to help it achieve its own ambitions. to protect its forests and to be able to adapt to climate change and address the mitigation and be able to come up with mitigations to the impacts of climate change, which are beginning to have an impact already. We've looked at the El Nino. I'm getting El Nino updates every week, and the climate and the impact on yields and what people can plant and when the rains are coming is already being felt by Tanzanian farmers. So it's something that we feel that we really ought to step up and support the Tanzanian government to address. Thank you.
Thank you, Kemi. There are other questions coming up inevitably. There are in these, and it's as we get talking, more and more people start thinking, and there's more and more, I think, thoughts. I mean, I think there are questions around health and trade and including in carbon trade. But I think we have to stop there in order to be able to continue with the proceedings. I would like to thank both of you very, very much for your contributions and the depth and breadth that you've been able to talk about today with regards to what is happening in Tanzania and of course what with regards to the relationship between the UK and Tanzania. So I know we're not in a sort of formal way of being able to show of hands, but round of applause really. I know that will be coming.
Thank you. That's
coming virtually, but we've locked up the Zoom. But yeah, you can see some hands clapping digitally there. And so really many thanks to you, and Kemi, thanks a lot for the detailed insights, and I hope that the Dar weather is not too hot. And Honourable 𝗕𝗏𝗃𝗏, welcome to the UK again, and I look forward to our in-person meeting on Wednesday next week, very much so. So I thank you again. We will now proceed with the rest of the meeting. Both of you are very welcome to stay as much as your agenda allows you. If you need to duck off, that's also understandable. I know you're both very busy people, but thanks again, and we will now continue with the order of business. Again, I just wanted to reiterate that 𝗕𝗏𝗁𝗍, the Prime Minister's Trade Envoy for Tanzania, has sent his apologies, but was keen to speak today. But as you saw, Kemi Williams is able to pick up on that. Thank you. So I'd like to now move on to the next item, which is a sort of overall summary from me and a bit of a way ahead. So a bit of a reflection, but also a bit of a sort of some thoughts on where we go next. I'm not going to go into great detail because I hope that you may have seen my annual report, but if you haven't, just a few summary points. So I took over as chair now 2 years ago, 2021 AGM. My own background is in international environmental conservation, very much around the last subject that we were just talking about, including many years working directly and for the United Nations for UNDP, and spent many years engaging in Tanzania. I lived there as a student. I worked there as a UN official, where Tanzania fell under my work, and I've subsequently worked there as a businessman. So I appreciate this ongoing collaboration as someone who's a Swahili speaker and as someone who has really treats Tanzania as his second home and is there as often as I can. Just a word on where we are. Very proud of the work of our charity, the Tanzania Development Trust, which we'll hear about. Our magazine, as I mentioned before, Tanzanian Affairs, and our associated newsletter. They're both really, I know that I say this a lot, but they really do punch above their weight in terms of tangible support, whether it's to local development in case of TDT, or to understanding key issues and the depth and the breadth of some of the analysis that comes out of Tanzanian Affairs, given that we're doing it voluntarily, is significant. We've heard, the good news really about Tanzania in terms of political situation and the ongoing stability. Obviously, there's ongoing work and there are national dialogues and so on that continue. But we've also, as we've heard, the Tanzanian economies continue to grow pretty robustly in terms of structural reforms, tourism recovery, etc. So on to us. I mean, we'll hear more from Janet and team shortly, so I won't go into any detail. But TDT has had yet another productive year, really with an excellent program of activities, which are reported in the annual report. with about, well, Janet will go into this, but with 36 projects, I think, about £170,000, benefiting over 110,000 people. So really significant investments in terms of water, girls' education, agriculture, income generation, etc. So congratulations, Janet, and the team of people that work on TDT issues, the trustees, the volunteers, because it really is a very strong part of what we do. Ben Taylor has edited and produced the Tanzanian Affairs with a set of contributing writers, and we continue to, as I said, bring that to a high standard 3 times a year. We've got Jennifer Sharp editing our BTS newsletter, bringing sort of more day-to-day news and stories from our work as a society and linking into TDT. So ongoing thanks to them and their teams. And just generally thanks to our exec committee, to the EC, our vice chair, 𝗕𝗿𝗶𝗁, our secretary, 𝗕𝗏𝗁, our minute secretary, David Gibbons, our honourable treasurer, Jeremy Lefroy, and others. I won't go into much more detail for now. I think I'd like to, at this point, just talk a little bit more about the way ahead. I'm very keen that we do more going forward. I think particularly now that the relationship I see is certainly improving. There's an energy now between the UK and Tanzania we can absolutely take advantage of generally, but also more specifically in terms of the social distancing issues and the ability to get together physically. So although we've had a relatively quiet time over the last few years in terms of events, I'm very keen that we now start having regular in-person events. I want to reiterate, though, we will, as executive team, as me and the rest of us, will need help to do that, and we will need volunteers. So please do approach me and the EC if you're willing and able to help with events in your area, because I think it grounds the society if we have work, if we have receptions, events, and related to different elements of our friendship between our nations in the areas in which you live, whether that's in the Midlands or in Scotland, Wales, different parts of England, etc. Or indeed through Tanzania, through our Tanzanian chapter, which we'll hear more about shortly. I also want to say that we would like to do more webinars. This is a tradition we've had for some time. Initially, it was seminars. These days, it's more webinars. We've had some excellent webinars over the last few years. I would like to pick that up a little bit more. And again, myself and Janet would seek more people willing to put their hands up about particular thematic areas that we might do more about. Whether, I mean, some of the issues we've just been discussing in the Q&A, some of the issues that came up from our 2 speakers, but around education, around environment, around health. Around diaspora issues, these sort of issues, I think we want to keep them very live. We have got a very good network between us in terms of reaching out to different experts, whether they be academics or practitioners in the field. And as we've seen in the past, we've been able to get some very significant key speakers. So let's do get in touch. Please don't be afraid to put your ideas forward, and then we will try and instigate a regular program of webinars and perhaps the occasional seminar in terms of in person. So I don't think I will add anything else there. If there's any specific points that people want to bring up based on my quick summary there, as I said, either drop me a line, or if you want to quickly raise it, we can have a quick discussion now. That's also fine, before we get on to approval of the minutes and the next aspects of the agenda. So as I said, yes, we've got a few thumbs up there, but I think let's just continue in the interest of time. Now going to some of the formalities. So there were minutes circulated for the last AGM, which was held in 2 parts the TDT AGM and then the BTS AGM in October, November last year. They have been circulated in the annual reports. So unless there are any challenges, then I would like to sort of formally approve the minutes from the 47th AGM, where we are, you know, from last year. Now we're in the 48th. So I'll do that, please, and we can continue. We need some kind of hammer or something. On Zoom, it doesn't quite give us the same resonance. I'll therefore carry on. So we've approved the minutes. I don't think there were any matters arising beyond what has been raised already in the AGM, the agenda. The remaining items, I think, are circulated. I haven't heard any issues around matters arising. If there is any, please quickly shout in the chat. I think we're fine on that front. There's always a sad moment in the process of these AGMs as we reflect on people who have passed away over the last year. A number of friends of Tanzania and the UK have passed away this year, and I would just want to mention a few of them. Our late chair, Ron Fennell. So we remember Ron. I worked with Ron myself when I was, you know, still relatively young, but when I was younger, in my earlier engagement in the society, going back into the 1990s and the early 2000s, and he passed away this year. We also remember 𝗕𝗿𝗶𝗁𝗏. We remember Professor 𝗕𝗿𝗁𝗁𝗏. David Le Breton, John Woodman, and John Saw. Rest in peace, all of them. And if there are others that I didn't mention there, of course, you know, we reflect on our friends. Oh, I'm sorry to hear that. We've also lost Michael and Jumba in Tanzania very recently. Very sorry to hear that. So thank you all for being reflective for a moment there as we hear from our friends who've passed away. I would now like to pass the baton over to Janet Chapman for a while in terms of hearing about TDT, the Tanzanian Development Trust, both in terms of first the annual report, and then we'll hear from a number of representatives. So Janet, the floor is yours. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Paul. And just to mention also Peter Park, who died this year, who was a project officer of TDT some time ago. So, and has also just given the TDT a legacy, which is very, very much appreciated. So I hope you can see my screen. Can you see
yes.
that, Paul? Okay, so I hope people have had a chance to look at the AGM. If not, it is on the website, and I know Paul has also circulated it. And I'll also put the link in when I send the recording. So as Paul mentioned, we had 36 core projects. That was around £170,000 worth that benefited over 110,000 people. And our core areas are access to water, and I hope Benedicto, rep for Kigoma, is going to talk a little bit about that shortly. Girls' education, and one of the main initiatives that we've been supporting this year is a school for girls who've been excluded because of pregnancy. They weren't able to go back, and as you can see here, there is a girl, a young mother involved in our school in Tabora, 𝗕𝗿𝗁𝗏 Open School. And I was hoping that Ezekiel was going to talk about this, but unfortunately he's actually teaching at the moment, which is fair enough. As I said, we have put in 31 different boreholes this year. These are low-cost boreholes perfected by Benedicto that are very low cost at about £1,500. So that will be in 𝗕𝗁𝗃𝗃, but we've also improved many water sources in other areas, such as this one in Kagera. We will be having another fundraising campaign for water. This is part of Big Give, and we're very pleased this year that we've raised over £6,000 in match funding already. So this means that any donation is doubled during the week beginning the 28th of November. So we will be very grateful if people mark their calendar and feel able to donate any amount during that week. And obviously we will put out a reminder about that. So girls' education is a particular priority of ours. So I hope that you will have read this in the annual report. This now Tumahini Open School has moved into its purpose-built buildings in Tabora, and it is really going well. So if you want to follow more information about it, please do check out their website. I'll put it in the chat shortly. Another big education project is 𝗕𝗶𝗶𝗁's Hope project, which is giving a safe environment for girls escaping FGM in Mara region. And unfortunately, 𝗕𝗶𝗶𝗁's not very well at the moment, so she's not able to join us today. But with 𝗕𝗶𝗶𝗁, we've set up Inspiring Girls Tanzania, which has regular webinars with positive role models of strong women in Tanzania to inspire girls across Tanzania. So if you're interested in that, I can also share the links to the recordings of the events that we've had so far. So Hope has been given some land in Mugumu, and 𝗕𝗁𝗃𝗃 Foundation are in the process of drawing up plans to build a purpose-built centre there. So that's very exciting. Another project, and I'm hoping that Patrick, our rep for Dodoma, will be able to talk about this shortly, if he's here. So he's running a vocational training centre for deaf students in Dodoma. So we gave them a small amount of funding to buy raw materials so that they could make frames and beds and tailoring materials. So you can see some of the girls, young women, the dresses that they made here. I visited this project in January, and it's very, very inspiring. We've also just last week approved funding for a borehole, which will mean that they can start growing their own food and become much more sustainable. Because our third pillar after water and girls' education is income generating projects. And I'm hoping that Benedicto in a moment can talk a bit more about what the projects that they're doing in 𝗕𝗁𝗃𝗃. 7 years, almost 8 years ago now, we started this project called Crowd to Map, which is mapping rural Tanzania into OpenStreetMap and open source map to help with navigation, community development, etc. And this is an ongoing long-term project that anybody can get involved with if you have an internet connection, or if you're traveling around Tanzania with a smartphone, you don't need a connection. If you'd like any more information, please do get in touch. And in January, we had a very successful second State of the Map Tanzania conference, which we helped organise with Open Map for Development Tanzania at University of Dar es Salaam, and we had over 130 people from over 8 countries. So that was a great success. And if you'd like more information, please let me know. So really a huge thank you to everybody that supported us. We're extremely grateful to Britain Tanzania Society, who have also who support us in many ways, including financially. But I also would really like to thank all of the TDT volunteers. We're all volunteers, so we don't have any staff. Particularly Brian for being an amazing treasurer. And I think also got John, David, Nanette, Alpha on the line, and I'm hoping we can talk to some of those in a minute. So thank you very much. If there are any questions, then please do put them in the chat. Otherwise, I believe Benedicto is here. So if I... right, and also I'm going to invite Nanette to... right. Benedicto, I think you should be able to unmute yourself now.
Oh, thank you, Janet. I have managed to unmute, and thank you to 𝗕𝗿𝗁𝗂 for his presentation, and thank you, Janet, for your presentation as well, which shows us what Tanzania Development Trustee has been doing. Yeah, I will be talking on what we are doing in Tanzania, especially in Kigoma region, in collaboration with the Tanzania Development Trustee and as a local representative for Kigoma Rural. I will talk on 3 topics, and one of this topic is about the food and income security in Tanzania. In the few years since we started collaborating with Tanzania Development Trustee, we have continued with Mboni Vijana Group to strengthen the system that making sure the security of food and income to rural people, especially in Kasulu Rural. So in order to ensure the food security and income is assured to the community, we established farming schemes and the microfinance, which provides small loans to the farmers to improve the way of production. In the last 2 years, we started investigating the potential of establishing cassava production. And for now, we have more than 25 workers with hybrid or improved cassava seeds, which are tolerant to climate change, but they provide enough yields. So there are 3 varieties we identified that are very, very potential to ensure that they give the community enough food and income. These are 𝗕𝗿𝗁𝗂 Nkumba 40 tons of plots. We have proved that this is a true crop that can bring a huge amount of money, but ensuring the community with the food security. Yesterday, we had the meeting with the farmers. A total of 500 farmers attended the meeting, and all of them, they are interested to adopt these cassava varieties because they are very, very promising in providing income and the food security. So we will keep looking at the way that we can manage this, because everyone want a support to manage the farms. So far, we have supported more than 5,000 farmers to improve crop on their farms, and as well, they have
Janet, do we have a connectivity issue?
It looks like it. Maybe while we wait for Benedicto to hopefully get better connectivity, perhaps Nanette, would you like to just talk briefly about the link that you've set up with 𝗕𝗏𝗄 School? Because I know Alpha is here, but he also has rain that's making very poor connectivity, which could also be the issue that Benedicto is having, unfortunately.
Okay, no problem, no problem.
Thank you.
So yes, I'm a teacher at an independent school in Dorset, and 2 years ago contacted Janet to see if we could find a school to develop a partnership with, and Janet promptly suggested 𝗕𝗏𝗄 School. So Alpha and I have been working for the last 2 years to build the partnership between the two schools, and we do lots of collaborative activities. We've done art projects with the students. Here we do lots of fundraising for 𝗕𝗏𝗄. So in the last year, I think we raised about £4,000. We provided a chicken project for the school, a new chicken house, funded a pre-Form 1 English course for the new students, provided them with chairs, lots and lots of fundraising going on. And this morning, in fact, we had a 3-hour session with our Year 10s on all things Tanzania, as part of our Saturday morning programme. It was really successful. The students absolutely engaged, and it was a lovely morning, which we actually finished with a live link up with 𝗕𝗏𝗄, with Alpha, another teacher, and some of their students. So to see our students interacting like that is a really joyful thing, amazing. So yeah, the partnership has gone from strength to strength, really, and still trying to come up with new ideas and new things. I was just going to say, because also I'm working as a project officer for TDT now. So one of the things at 𝗕𝗏𝗄, we've just approved funding for boys camping at the school. The girls already have a hostel, but temporary boys camping at the school, which will be a great thing. Can see the picture behind Janet at the moment is a lot of the boys coming across the river to get to school and actually struggling to get to their national exams, so in the rainy season. So that is a great thing. The only other thing I was going to say is that I had the pleasure of going to 𝗕𝗏𝗄 School in the summer. The school that Janet was talking about for young mothers. and I'm working with Sheila at TDT, and we're trying to actually find that school a partnership school, so to try and set up a partnership in a similar way that we have a partnership with 𝗕𝗏𝗏𝗃𝗏. So if anybody knows of any independent schools that might be interested in doing that, that would be a great thing. I think that's it, Janet. Is that okay?
That's wonderful. Thank you so much.
Okay.
And thank you for all you've been doing. I know that Alpha and everyone at 𝗕𝗏𝗏𝗃𝗏 really, really appreciates it. And I know that Ezekiel really loved your visit. So
Thank you,
much
Janet.
appreciated.
I'm still meeting with the girls at the school with Ezekiel online as well too now. So that's another great thing. So thank you.
Fantastic. Benedicto, I don't know if you want to try and carry on, if you've got slightly better connectivity. Do you want to try and unmute? Otherwise, oh, thank you, Anna. That's very, that's great. Otherwise, David Gibbons, if you're here, I don't know if you'd like to say something about our partnership with 𝗂𝗏𝗏𝗃𝗏 very briefly, if you're able to unmute.
Oh, okay. So I was trying to unmute. I think I was slightly blocked there. Yeah, so I'm speaking from Dar es Salaam. There's no electricity here, so it's getting darker. And I, as a project officer, have been lucky enough to be involved with a partnership with a Belgian organisation called 𝗂𝗏𝗏𝗃𝗏𝗃, who co-funded for 7 years a village in 𝗧𝗏𝗏𝗃𝗏𝗃 district in the 𝗬𝗏𝗏 region. And they wanted to, when that came to an end about a year ago, they wanted to fund a new village, and project and local representatives were invited to suggest village candidates for funding. And Hamza, who's our local representative in Singida, put a very good case for 𝗬𝗏𝗏𝗃𝗏𝗃 village, which is in Singida region. So we've started that program, co-funding, and so far we've managed to build a kitchen for the school, new classrooms, and we've just drilled a borehole to 120 meters deep, which is producing good quality water. And then that's the stand and the water tank just being built for that. And our Belgian representative, Edgar, is going to visit it in November. So that's where we are at the moment. Future toilets, possible dispensary are in line. So it's an idea of having a big impact in one place over a period of time. But what they really appreciate is our local representatives who are in the region, who can help work with the village councils and the district councils and other government officials to sort of manage it and to fix any snags that are going on and that sort of thing.
Thank you, David. I think this is a fantastic project. Again, I visited the site in January during the rainy season, which was incredibly challenging as we had to walk across a river to get there. But hope things are really going well. And I put the link in the chat if people want to know more. And again, if people have any questions about any aspect of Tanzania Development Trust work or would like to get involved in any way, then please do get in touch. I'll put my email in the chat as well. So thank you.
Thank you so much, Janet and colleagues, for the insights and the examples there from the excellent work of Tanzania Development Trust. And yes, we call on more support. There's always need for both financial support and physical support in terms of volunteers. So please do get in touch with Janet on that front. I would now like to get on to the next item, which is, I'm hoping he's online. Do we have Ben Taylor to talk about Tanzanian affairs?
I haven't seen him.
No, I haven't either.
Sorry, I think Benedicto's joined in with a different login. So I've just made him co-host. I don't know if that's any better. Benedicto, are you able to unmute and talk now or not?
Oh, yes, Janet, thank you. I have unmuted, and I'm very sorry for everyone for inconvenience because my connectivity is not very well here. So sometimes I'm going down and sometimes coming back. Before continuing, I would like to answer the question from Asel asking what varieties of cassava. The cassava which we have started working with here in Kigoma, 𝗕𝗏𝗃, Mkumba, and the Kiroba. I can type the names on the chat room so that you can read it well.
Yes, if you could pop those in the chat, please, Benedicto, that would be great.
Yeah, thank you. Then I was talking about water issue as part of our work. We have done more than 110 boreholes to date since we started doing this work, and every borehole on average of 600 people are benefiting from the borehole. This has been a very, very big achievement that we see as a solution to life in many families and institutions in Kigoma region. We are still developing the method of drilling, but we still encounter sometimes the challenges with finances because most of this work which we are doing to institutions and the poor communities are being done by the donations from the members of BTS and the Tanzania Development Trust. The big heart that you are doing for our people in Kigoma is very, very much appreciated. Thank you very much for your support. In the other way, we are working on environment, especially to cope with climate change and the soil erosion. So in so doing, we have two things that we see as a solution, primary solutions, but within them, there are other activities that we involve. The first thing is planting trees. We have established the nurseries where we grow indigenous trees and then encourage institutions, especially schools and the farmers, to keep planting the indigenous indigenous trees, which are as a consumer of carbon dioxide. So they store carbon dioxide in helping the crop from excess carbon dioxide. And also we started working on biochar. Biochar is often made from the dried crop residues and other dried material, especially crops and the plants, which this biochar is being used with the farmers on their end so that it helps to capture carbon dioxide from the atmosphere and store it into soil. But at the same time, biochar is like something that holds nutrients from being moved from one place to another by runoff of water. So itself, it will hold that nutrient into the soil for a long time, but at the same time, it will help the soil not to lose moisture when it is dry. So by that way, we intend it to improve yields per acre by 40%, especially for maize and cassava. So this is a project that we are dealing with, and we have got support from the community, which have shown acceptance of this project. But this year is start. So we will be having evaluation in the next year after having the harvest. And for the term of knowing how quantity of carbon dioxide have been captured is something that we do not have a technology that can help us calculate exactly how much carbon dioxide have been captured from the atmosphere and stored into the ground, into the soil. So all in all, this project, very pleased to announce or to say thank you very much for the members of 𝗲𝗿 Tanzania Society for your support, and I hope this support will continue. And the Tanzania Development Trust has been a very, very wonderful bridging Tanzania Development, 𝗲𝗿 Tanzania Society, and us who are living in Tanzania in terms of financial support, because every money comes to Development Trust for religious, which we are benefiting from this collaboration. Thank you very much. And I think Ada will explain what I have not said. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Benedicto. And I know many people here will remember meeting Benedicto in person at AGM some years ago, when you also met the then High Commissioner in here. And I believe you, at that point, you also got an award from the Queen. So really fantastic. And recently, congratulations, because 𝗤𝗏𝗃𝗃, your organization has just become a partner of 𝗕𝗏𝗃 Family Foundation, which is a really fantastic step forward. So hongera sana. And thank you again.
Thank you very much. Thank you. Thank you.
Hongera tena Benedicto. And
asante sana na karibu sana.
I will continue now with the review of Tanzanian affairs. It does look like Ben is not able to make it, but that's okay. We have a report that's in the annual report, which I'll simply summarize. So 2022 to 23, in terms of the review, the work that we'll be doing within TA, obviously saw President Samia Suluhu Hassan continued to grow in authority as president, including taking some substantial steps towards re-establishing democratic freedoms. Tanzanian Affairs, as a magazine and coming out 3 times a year, has continued to cover these moves and the surrounding wider debate, as well as continuing to report on important developments in terms of the country's economy, in terms of energy, minerals, tourism, natural resources, conservation. And we have specialist writers who contribute to those, and we're very lucky that we do. And we if you want to contribute to Tanzanian Affairs, please let either myself or Ben Taylor know. We always do look for new writers, particularly on specific areas that are either emerging or very relevant to Tanzania. As ever, Tanzanian Affairs has endeavored to maintain a strong commitment to objectivity, to balance, and to truth, ultimately reporting the facts as best as possible. So beyond the news sections, the book review section is also very popular, which keeps readers informed about a wide range of the latest publications. So any questions that you might have about TA, which is both online and in printed for those that want printed, and then the current one is actually on its way shortly, a little delayed this time around. The online version has already been sent around. So any questions you have on Tanzanian Affairs, or you'd like to contribute more, please do. And as you know, we also, with Tanzanian Affairs, circulate, for those that subscribe to it, the Britain-Tanzania Society newsletter, which Jennifer keeps an excellent array of different stories invested into it, and we, as ever, encourage contributions to our newsletter too. So if you have some fun and interesting stories, whether you're coming through the support to Tanzania Development Trust, or whether it's on wider issues that cover Britain-Tanzania Society related issues, please do get in touch. We are keen to hear your stories and have your pictures and and hear of your experiences, and as part of our newsletter.
Sorry,
So,
Paul, before we
yes,
move on, Patrick, our local rep for Dodoma, has just joined. So can we invite him to speak very briefly about the deaf vocational project in Dodoma, although he does seem to have quite bad connectivity. Patrick, please go ahead.
Hello, I am Patrick from Dodoma, Tanzania. I'm working with the Deaf Ministry and the Diocese of Central Tanganyika here in Dodoma town and some 2 districts in Dodoma region. I am doing at the head of Matumbulu Deaf Vocational Training Center, which located at Matumbulu village. It is about 15 kilometers south from Dodoma to road. We are providing vocational trainings for the deaf people, as there is no any other vocational in the country which can give them such that skills. So we have girls and boys deaf. Few of them went to primary school already, means they know how to sign and they can communicate easier. But the others, they have no school yet, means they don't have even sign, so they cannot communicate even themselves. So what we did is we give them language so that they can understand what the teacher teach. And then the skills being provided there is the carpentry, welding, and sewing for now. So we have total of 20 now. We are very limited for the number. Why? Because of the fund available for food for them to feed. Though we have many of them to our pending list. So we're still going on with them, and the course is yearly. Though we have many requests for the student to join the center. But we thank God, Tanzania Development Trustees has been much supportive for us so that we can strengthen the center to run. As now they have given us some fund so that we can dig a borehole for the center, as we have no water source to the center. Yeah, that is shortly about Matumbulu Deaf Vocational Training Center. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Patrick. I've put a link in the chat to more information, and if people have any questions for Patrick, please do write them. Thank you.
Thanks, Janet. And thank you, Patrick. Okay, I will move on to the next item now, which is a report on the status of BTS Tanzania. And I'm hopeful that Professor 𝗕𝗿𝗄𝗏, the Britain Tanzania Society Tanzania chair, is available to come online. Yes, he is. There he is. Please, 𝗕𝗿𝗄𝗏, over to you. Karibu sana. Your chance to speak, please. Thank you.
Thank you, Paul, and all members of BTS UK. We thank you very much for inviting us to this AGM from Tanzania. Us from Tanzania, I see some of my colleagues. Daniel is there. We really thank you, and we have enjoyed being in the meeting. So, asante, you and members. I also wish to take this opportunity to congratulate our new ambassador in the UK, Mheshimiwa Balozi Kairuki. I think for us it's a pleasure that he's coming to the UK. We know he was in China, he did a great job there, so we hope that the same will be done in the UK, and we as BTS are going to enjoy. Unfortunately, we didn't have an opportunity to say a farewell to him, but we hope in one of his visits, when he comes back, we will invite him as BTS Tanzania and be able to share our plans and what we wish him to do while he's in the UK. Now, on the status, I think, Paul, you are here few months ago. Oh, well, it's a long time, maybe a number of months since you left. What we have done, or rather I would say since I reported last year, what we have done is to hold an AGM, which we did in April this year. And I think from that meeting, the most important thing was the election of office bearers. I think you remember before that, our chair, the late Ambassador 𝗫𝗶𝗫 passed away, so we had to, and I was standing in for him, but during that meeting we had to elect and the chair, but also other office bearers, because it was a long time since we last had the elections. So the election was held, and I was elected or confirmed as the chair, and other people, I don't know if it's, maybe I can read the names if you allow me. Yes, so I was elected as the chair, and now we have decided to have vice chair, and the vice chair who was elected is 𝗕𝗿𝗁𝗃𝗃. I don't know if you know him, but he's a younger man, so we want to get the younger people into the senior positions in the society, so that we have continuity. And then we had the lady Jacqueline Quaker. I think she was there when we met at the High Commissioner's office. She's our new secretary, and the treasurer is the same, Boniface Kanemba. But we have deputies or assistants for both deputies for all these positions. So we have a deputy secretary, she's a lady called Pendo Bigambo, and the deputy treasurer, Mary Mulamula, who I think many of you would know because she lived in the UK for a long time. And then one of the TDT volunteers, 𝗕𝗿𝗄𝗂𝗁𝗃𝗃, is our membership secretary. And we have 4 members of the executive committee who are Liberato Haule, Dani Mwasandube, Elizabeth Mleli, and Fauzia, who are old members who also have been in the UK for a long time. So this is basically the executive committee. And now, since then, what we've been doing is mainly housekeeping, because before that we had a lot of issues which were not attended. So we are trying to keep our house in order. We had planned to have one meeting this month, which was a very important meeting where our main agenda was to plan for our activities for the next 1 year, which was one of the main agendas. But unfortunately, as you heard from Danny, we had this sad event where one of our members, Michael Njumba, passed away. Actually, it coincided with the dates of that meeting. So we spent, actually, he passed away about 1.5 weeks ago. The last respect mass was on last Saturday. So it's very recent, as Dan said. So now I think after that we are planning another date for the meeting, and which will be held very soon, where we'll plan our activities, and after that we'll share them with you. But we really hope before that we'll consult you, but we want to have activities that in which we also would like to invite you, if possible, some of these activities, especially talks up from different people and so on. So that's where we are at the moment, and we hope the coming year, next year, 2024, going to be a very lively year for the BTS. It's going to be our revival year. Maybe I would like to say a few words about Michael, the late Michael Njumba. He was one of our very few remaining senior members of BTS Tanzania. Senior, I mean by age. But he was a very active member. He never missed any meeting. I think he attended both meetings which we held with you, Paul. at Edwin's office and at the High Commissioner's office, and he always was there. His health was not very good, but he will never miss any meeting. So for us, actually, it has been a very big loss, and we hope we'll manage, but we have been using him as an example, especially for our young members, many of whom will not have that kind of commitment. Michael also committed a lot of his resources to BTS. He committed his offices for meetings, but also with TDT. I think TDT would remember him because he used to supervise or take care of projects which were implemented in his region, Kagera. So he has been a very active member. I think with those few remarks, I would like to stop there. But if there are any questions or suggestions from BTS UK for us, we will happily take them or listen to them and see what we can do. Otherwise, we are now ready to move ahead with you at the same speed as you are moving. Thank you very much. Asanteni sana.
Asante, we're with Cuthbert, Professor 𝗕𝗿𝗁𝗶𝗃, Chair of Britain Tanzania Society, Tanzania chapter. Thank you so much for your update, and like you, thank you for letting us know about Michael. May he rest in peace. His contribution was considerable years, and I remember 2 decades ago as well as our recent interactions, of course. And I'm so pleased to see the Tanzanian chapter really coming alive again, and I very much look forward to the collaborations that we will have now between BTS here in the UK, between TDT as well as your chapter. So thank you so much, and if there are any inputs, please do put them in the chat. Of course,
and maybe before I finish, Pole sana for all members of BTS UK who passed away. I remember particularly Peter Park, with whom I had an opportunity to work with when he was project officer of BTS UK, especially on the 𝗕𝗿𝗄𝗃 project, which is one of the BTS flagship projects here in Tanzania. So poleni sana, and may his soul rest in peace. Amen.
Thank you, Cuthbert. And so I would now like to go on to the next report, which is from our friends at Tanzania UK Health Alliance. This report will be presented through a presentation by Dr. Gideon Mlawa. So, Professor, indeed, Mlawa, please take the floor. Over to you. Thank you.
On behalf of 𝗕𝗿𝗃, I thank you for inviting us to be able to present our report, and I would like to share the slides with that. If you're able to see that, let me share my screen. Are you able to see my slides?
Yes.
Yeah, it's visible.
So I'm going to talk on behalf of Tanzania UK Health Alliance, which stands for is 𝗕𝗿𝗃, and its inception was in 2017 in London at the BMJ House. And 𝗕𝗿𝗃 is made up of different healthcare professionals, but also another person with interest in health for both UK and Tanzania. And as I've just said, it was formed in 2017 after the East Africa Health Summit, and we are a charitable organization. And with 𝗕𝗿𝗃, on behalf of my colleagues, I've got Chairman Dr. Hamza Hassan is our chairman, Dr. Nasim Mwanda is vice chairman, Dr. Mohammed Salim is our treasury, and we've got Lela Rushamba, trustees, 𝗕𝗿𝗃 Pendaeli, Petronella Mlowe is also a trustee, and myself as I'm a trustee, but also I'm a treasurer for Tanzania UK Health Alliance. And with this, we've got our advisors. We've got advisory board members, including Professor Makani, who is, I think, is on the call, and Professor Frank Minja is based in the US. And our patron for Tanzania UK Health Alliance is our High Commissioner. Previously was our Dr. 𝗕𝗿𝗄𝗧 𝗕𝗿, who has gone back home to Tanzania, and she will continue working with us. And we hope that with the arrival of His Excellency 𝗕𝗿𝗄𝗁, he will take the role and support 𝗕𝗿𝗄𝗃. But the aim of the formation of Tanzania UK Health Alliance was to make sure that maybe we want to work in collaboration with our UK partners or institutions in main 3 areas, that medical education, clinical care, and research activities. And since its formation, we've been doing a lot of collaboration online, trying to educate a diaspora community within UK, but also knowledge sharing with our colleagues back home, especially during COVID-19 pandemic. But 𝗕𝗿𝗃 has been a catalyst in the formation of Tanzania UK Health Alliance, which was formed on the 18th of May this year. The signing was done at the Tanzania High Commissioner, British High Commissioner in Dar es Salaam. So what has 𝗕𝗿𝗃 done so far? We've been doing a lot of things on the background. This slide just tells us the visit of 𝗕𝗿𝗃 in 𝗬𝗵𝗵 Hospital, which was a collaboration between 𝗬𝗵𝗵 and Northumbria Hospital. And we visited in 2018. And with that, we managed to deliver and donate high fidelity simulation mannequin to 𝗬𝗵𝗵 Hospital. And this was the first simulation mannequin which is high fidelity in terms of imitating how the human body works and so on. And we delivered teaching on basic life support, but also we delivered teaching on diabetes and endocrine. And on this picture, you can see students who are at 𝗬𝗵𝗵 Hospital. These are some of my colleagues from Northumbria, and we visited 𝗬𝗵𝗵 Hospital at the same time, and we met a few people there. That's 2018. But if going forward, we were also able to deliver books to 𝗬𝗵𝗵 Hospital, but also to other healthcare institutions in rural areas. These are BNF, which is British National Formulary. Yes, you can get them online, but I think in other areas where you cannot get signal or online services, having these formulary can help in terms of referencing and so on. If you look at that, this is an example of the so-called reverse innovation. That is frugal innovation in terms of, this is a modified motorcycle, which is modified as ambulance to be used in hard to reach areas, rural areas, whereby you can take patients to hospital. It was there in 𝗬𝗵𝗵, and that's something which the UK healthcare professionals, we can learn from our colleagues back home. But also last year, we have been doing collaboration with the Muhimbili National Hospital, MOI, informally in terms of management of neurosurgery and patients with brain tumors. And one of the areas which we want to collaborate with them is about the importance or the role of multidisciplinary team in managing complex patients. I was lucky enough to be invited by MOI to talk about the medical management of pituitary tumors. And since the signing of collaboration and MOU with Tanzania, we aim to start working with MOI, with my institution, which is Queen's Hospital, discussing complex patients from Tanzania, but also complex patients from UK. This is Helen and Sylvia. They are our honorary 𝗕𝗿𝗃 member. Sylvia is a hematologist working at Royal Free Hospital, and Helen, she's a retired GP, but they've been working and they've done a lot of work around HIV in Mbeya region, southern Tanzania, but also they've been working with girls in terms of supporting them to be able to get sanitary pads through a charity. So they are working with us, they are part of 𝗕𝗿𝗃, and we are very grateful for their contribution. Also, last year, we went to Mnazi Mmoja Hospital in Zanzibar. We work with the Minister of Health of Zanzibar we're able to visit the Ministry of Health itself, but also we are lucky enough to visit the Diabetes Center in 𝗧𝗕𝗄𝗃 Hospital, where we are able to work with healthcare professionals there, and we want to continue collaborating with them around improving diabetes service and care for our people in this country, in the UK, but also in Tanzania. And also we're able to deliver this year. Dr. 𝗧𝗕𝗄𝗃𝗀 went in June this year with a team from 𝗓𝗏𝗃𝗃. They've delivered another high simulation training mannequin to 𝗧𝗕𝗄𝗃 Hospital, which will be used to train students, junior doctors, and other healthcare professionals, including nurses, in order for them to improve their skills. This is part of that. This is Dr. 𝗧𝗕𝗄𝗃𝗀 trying to train about airway management as a part of that trip. Here is about trauma, about managing someone with catastrophic bleed or hemorrhage training delivered by the team from 𝗓𝗏𝗃𝗃, including 𝗧𝗕𝗄𝗃𝗀, who is 𝗙𝗏 Vice President. But also we work with Manchester University team. We've got orthopedic surgeons working with 𝗙𝗏 in collaboration with us, and they've been going to 𝗧𝗕𝗄𝗃 Hospital performing different procedures in the orthopedic procedures. This was last year and this year in terms of trauma patients. We know that the leading cause of trauma in Tanzania, but also especially in Zanzibar, is through border road traffic accident. And the collaboration in terms of orthopedic management of these patients and trauma treatment is vital. And this is Mr. Shoaib, is the orthopedic surgeon. He went there, but they work together. The orthopedic team from UK and the orthopedic team in Zanzibar, they worked together and they did several procedures, including about 20 procedures for orthopedic patients. So this is part of 𝗙𝗏 working widely in UK, but also in Tanzania. When we went last year, we were lucky enough to be invited to the presidential palace. Dr. Hussein Mwinyi, who is president of Zanzibar, is an honorary member of 𝗙𝗏, and he supports, he understands what we do in terms of 𝗙𝗏 and our contribution, and he's very grateful with that. But what about 𝗙𝗏 and during COVID-19 pandemic? During COVID-19 pandemic, 𝗙𝗏 members within UK, we used to do or run webinars for almost once a week for 12 months as a volunteers, but talking about management of COVID-19 pandemic, because if you look at the pandemic, UK and other global north countries were ahead of pandemic compared to Africa, and therefore we are seen as if we have got more knowledge about COVID-19, and therefore whatever knowledge we had, we shared with others. And with that, the African Union invited 𝗙𝗏 to talk about management of COVID-19 frontline experience, and I was lucky enough to give a talk as one of the speakers. And the African Union Center for Disease Africa, they were very grateful with 𝗙𝗏 contribution. But also we talked about the recovery trial and COVID-19. This is a part of my team in Queen's Hospital. We took part in the recovery trial, which was looking at a different medication which can be used to treat COVID-19 pandemic. But what was 𝗙𝗏 has played a major role or as a catalyst in the formation of Tanzania UK Health Alliance, and through formation of Tanzania UK Health Alliance, this year we are able to sign the MOU between Zanzibar and Ministry of Health Zanzibar and my hospital, Queen's Hospital, in terms of collaboration. And we chose areas of collaboration such as medical education, maternal health, and other areas. And that collaboration has started already. So we've done the first online series last month on trauma, and we aim to do more the next coming few months. And what about the role of 𝗙𝗏 in organizing the so-called East Africa UK Health Summit? We've been running this meeting for the past few years, and 𝗙𝗏 members, we are part of that organizing committee, and these meetings have been very successful. And we are very proud as 𝗙𝗏 member that we've been taking part in organizing this meeting. Some of these meetings we took part in Kampala. Some of our 𝗙𝗏 members were there, and also last year and this year. And next year we've got another meeting coming, and 𝗙𝗏 members, we are taking part in that, and we're making sure that these meetings are very successful and it brings benefit to both UK healthcare professionals, but also East African healthcare professionals. So I just told you about in terms of what we've been doing for the past few months. And last month, we did the first online series, knowledge sharing between my hospital, Queen's Hospital, and institution in Zanzibar, that's Mnazi Mmoja Hospital. But also there were healthcare professionals from 𝗕𝗶𝗶𝗃𝗏, 𝗪𝗂, and other part of Tanzania. And that was a very good learning experience. And the feedback was very positive indeed. And we aim to do more online knowledge sharing for the coming few months. And next year in June, the team from Queen's Hospital will be visiting Tanzania, initially 𝗕𝗶𝗶𝗃𝗏, then Zanzibar, and we'll do a camp or a symposium on different topics related to healthcare professionals. This is part of that. You can see this is an ambulance in Mnazi Mmoja Hospital, and a part of that training on that day, which was very successful. But also, most recently, for the past few months up to next year, we are running a training, online training or webinars on mental health among our communities. So different 𝗓𝗏 members have been trying to talk about mental health with community mental health and prison mental health and among ethnic minorities. And the next talk will be mental health and chronic conditions such as diabetes. And I've been invited to talk about that end of this month. But lastly, this is the next topic we're going to talk about: online collaboration. It will be between Queen's Hospital and 𝗕𝗶𝗃𝗏 Hospital. And the topic or the theme this time will be maternal health, but it's about sickle cell and pregnancy. And this is the link which has been shared, and I hope that most of you will be able to attend and support us. But that's all in a nutshell about 𝗓𝗏. And we want more people to join us, and we are happy to collaborate and work with any organization, especially the BTS.
Thank you so much, Professor Gideon Mlawa. An incredible achievement there, and a very fascinating presentation of the work of 𝗂𝗏 and critically the launch of TUCA, the Tanzanian UK Health Alliance. Really, congratulations and incredible work that you've been doing and continue to do. And I hope that you know, BTS members will agree. I'll see some virtual clapping there. You really keep up the good work, and if we can support you in different ways, you know, please let us know. And I know that you are in touch with many of us regularly in any case. Very interesting work indeed. Right, thank you. The next item isn't really an item because the election of the officials is only done every 3 years. So we've done that a couple of years ago. But I did want to just reiterate what I said earlier in my remarks, which was that we are keen to see more executive committee members, particularly focused around supporting events. And these can also be collaborations and webinars, and for example, what we've just heard from Gideon, you know, things that are of interest to us as a society. And so we are looking for more support, particularly on events, regional events, as I mentioned earlier, and on virtual technical issues, webinars, and so on. So please do get in touch. We are looking for more EC members. I'd now like to, we don't have much time needed to finish off the meeting now, just a few sort of formal approvals to go forward. The annual report of Britain Tanzania Society, (UK) has been circulated. It's online, and I think that you should all have been able to see it. If you haven't, it's fairly straightforward. We've indeed covered most of it and reiterated most of it during the course of this AGM in today's meeting. But I would just like to put for the record and hope there's no disagreement that we will approve the annual report for the year ending 30th of June 2023 at this point. Any I'm proposing that, obviously. Any seconders or any issues that people want to raise?
I'll second it.
Thank you, Janet. That's approved. I also wanted to formally approve the annual accounts of BTS UK for the year ending 30th of June. Again, these are presented in the annual report. They have also been examined. So I will pass just briefly to Jeremy to give us an update on that, please. Over to you, please, Jeremy.
Thanks very much indeed, Paul. So on the accounts, which you will have seen, we had a small surplus of just under £2,000 for the year, which is actually a bit more than last year. Income from subscriptions was down a little bit. We have lost some members. We are chasing up some who we think would still like to be part of it. But the more members you can persuade to join, the better. We had a big increase in donations thanks to a very generous anonymous donation, which was passed to the Tanzania Development Trust. As a result, our total income was higher at just over £15,000. Our expenditure is largely on the newsletter and TA. Each edition costs about £1,800. We had one event in the course of the year, or we paid for one event in the course of the year, and then most of the rest was donations which we gave to TDT and a few other small items. So it's really the main expenditure is on the newsletter and Tanzanian affairs. It's our proposal to keep the membership single and joint at £25. We've kept it at that for many, many years. I think at the moment we are able to cover all our costs, as you can see, with a margin at that level. However, we will have to reconsider next year whether we can maintain it at that level. Printing costs are climbing, although we have changed our printers and managed to keep the costs at about the same level. Our bank balance is now just over it was £4,000 at the end of June. It's more than that now. It's about £6,500, which gives us the ability both to ensure that we have the funds to print the newsletter and TA for the next year, and also to provide for an event in the course of the year. I think that's all from me, Paul. Thank you. Any questions?
Please put your questions in the chat. Very succinct as ever, Jeremy, very clear from my side. Please, any questions on BTS, and particularly on the report on the annual accounts that you just heard from Jeremy Lefroy?
And I'd just like to thank Brian East again for being the independent examiner. This is now, I think, the third year he's done it, and we much appreciate this work.
Yeah, we do indeed. Thank you. Thanks, Brian. Okay, well, I think that we can approve those annual accounts, and as they're online, they're on our website. They've been circulated. If you want to have a look through them, they're under the accounts section. Now I'm going to pass over to a question of the Tanzania Development Trust. So you've seen, and Janet has summarized already in her presentation, the annual report of the Tanzania Development Trust, again for the year ended 30th of June 2023. I think we can all see how much the trust has done, and I think the report is very clear and has been in circulation for some time now. From my side as chair, I'm very happy to approve it. Can I have a seconder, please?
Yes, from my side, Paul.
Thank you.
Thanks, Jeremy. Okay, and also from Aseri there. Thank you. Good stuff. Right. So now the last item, I think, is approval of the submission of the annual accounts ahead of a trustees meeting. Janet, do you want to discuss that, please?
Yes, so I have added the accounts in the chat, and thank you to Brian for all of his hard work this year, and also for Clive Ashton for auditing them. I don't know if there are any questions or if Brian or Clive want to say anything about this. Otherwise, I would just suggest that we approve them.
Any comments from Clive or Brian?
Yes, good afternoon. Just very briefly to thank all our donors, especially those who are donating regularly. As usual, I'm always very happy to hear if donations qualify for Giftsdale, because that does help us a lot. If you are thinking of donating to the work, donate direct to TDT. It means that, and we can collect gift aid if you pay enough tax, basically. One area that has been commented on, from the graph in the annual report, is the peak in income and expenditure last year compared to the year we're just talking about. But that is really due to an exceptional amount of money we handled on behalf of the Hope for Girls project, and it doesn't reflect a reduction in support to TDT core work. So I'm very grateful to the general trend is in contributions, and therefore project work is rising steadily over the last many years. I think that will do.
Thank you, Ben. Yes, and I'd like to second the thank you to everybody who has donated this year and previously.
Yes, indeed. And to reiterate that it is, if you're going to donate to TDT, it's better to do so directly. Obviously, we will continue. If we receive it in the BTS accounts, we will continue to pass it to TDT, but it's easier to do so directly.
Yes, and to do that directly to the bank account if possible, because then there's no fees. But thank you.
Yes.
And our bank details are on the website. But if you need any information, please do get in touch with either myself or Brian. And yes, Julian, he is a superb treasurer. We very much appreciate him.
Yes, we do. Thank you. Thanks indeed, Brian, also Clive, and thanks, Janet. So I'd like to approve those submitted annual accounts as has just been discussed. Can I have a second as well?
Yes.
Great, thank you. Well, colleagues, friends, is there any other business that people would like to raise? Otherwise, I will bring the meeting to a close.
I'd just like to thank you, Paul, as chair, for all the work you do. Much appreciated. And I'd also just like to add my thanks to my colleague, Pauline Ingle, who helps a lot with the BTS accounts. Thank you.
Yes, indeed. Yes. Thanks, Jeremy. Well, great. We've got through roughly 2 hours, a lot covered, and we really are looking forward to the next year ahead. Excited about the new Tanzanian High Commissioner to the UK, and I'm going to meet him on Wednesday, and look forward to engaging more on that front. We'll be in touch in terms of events and so on. Please do get in touch on ideas you have for events and seminars. I just want to reiterate that point. And if you would like to formally help us on the executive committee. Otherwise, with nothing else to say, whether you're in Tanzania or the UK, wherever you are today, I hope you enjoy the rest of your day. Thanks for joining us today. Goodbye.